Hello friends, hope you are doing well and welcome back to my channel NUAA-TECH videos. And in this video we will understand how we can install Azure AD Connect and sync the on-prem objects to Azure AD. So this is going to be very informative, and I think within 15-20 minutes you will know how to do it. So let's get started. So I already logged on to my Azure portal, and here I have one of virtual machine, and that is the domain controllers. So I'll connect to my domain controller, connect and RDP. Oops. Okay, because this machine it's not yet started, so let me quickly start this. So we can see the progress here. The virtual machine is starting, and this is my demo domain controllers. So I would not recommend you to install Azure AD Connect to any of the domain controller. And also there is a recommendation, if you have more than 10 key users, then you should install the SQL services or the servers for the database perspective, and then install a fresh new copy of Azure AD Connect on other servers. So in a nutshell, we have to have one Azure AD Connect server and one SQL server, and that should be backed up periodically. If you want to add more Azure AD Connect servers, so first one will be the primary, and the second one, that will be the staging server. So we can add as many as we want, okay, based on our requirement or the infra requirement. We can have multiple Azure AD Connect servers. So our machine is started, so let's try to connect now. Okay, I'm downloading RDP connect. I'll enter my credentials, so I'll pause my video. So I'm connecting to my domain controller. This is my domain controllers, as well as I'm going to install the Azure AD Connect on the same server. So once you identify the server, then what you need to do, you have to go to the Azure Active Directory. And in the previous video, if you don't know, first actually we need to register or create the custom domain. Okay, so this is my custom domain, nhahar.info, and this was verified. If you don't know how to do it, please watch my previous video. So we have to click on Azure AD Connect, and here basically we need to download the setup file. So we can click on download Azure Active Directory, Azure AD Connect, the setup file. So since I already downloaded, and I have kept on this server. Okay. I think let me download it. I deleted that by mistake. So once the setup file is downloaded, then I'll copy it to my domain controller. In your case, any free server with good amount of resources, and you have to have the SQL also as per the Microsoft recommendation. So setup file is downloaded. Let me copy this, and so since this is being copied, so I'll pause my video. So while the setup file is being copied, just hang on for a second. So setup file is copied, and before installation, just to make sure, we'll go back to the portal, and here we have to have one global administrator account that is created. So since I already added a custom domain, and that is my on-prem domain as well, nhjaha.info. So here I need to create account. Okay, so this account I already created, and this is also a global administrator account. Okay, so this account I created on Azure. You can see here on-premise the sync is not yet enabled, but this will be required for the installation purpose. So let's go back to the server and start the installation. Okay, click on this. Okay, yes, this is being installed. Okay, so the installation part is done, and now we have to do the configuration. So first it is asking for to sign the agreement. Okay, I agree and continue. So we have two options here: use express settings, and we can also customize this. So in custom, we have to give the username, and it will connect to ADDS, and it will configure it. Okay, but for demonstration, I think we will go with the customize part. So let me click on the customize. So here we have a few components that is specify a custom installation location, or use an existing SQL server, use an existing service account, specify custom the sync groups, and import synchronization setting. So import synchronization setting is for the second time if you are installing or configuring it and you have already taken the backup of Azure AD Connect server with all the rules and custom settings, then you can import. So I'll go with the custom installation, and my path is the default one. I can install to any drive if I'm adding it. This is going to generate a huge data, so it's recommended like you create a new drive like D or C with 300 or 500 gig of space. So all operations while the objects from on-prem to Azure AD they are syncing up, they will go smoothly. Or more than if in your organization if you have 10k plus users, then this is recommended like you use a SQL server as I told you before. So I'm going with the default location. Let's install it. So this is installing some drivers, SQL Express. So So this is already bundled in the same setup which we downloaded from Microsoft. Synchronization service. So it's creating and starting a synchronization service. Let me show you here. Services.msc. And there are multiple phases this operation or the configuration will go on. So AD sync service, this is started with basically this is one of the account automatically created. I did not create it. And AD sync service, this is started. So many of the accounts they will be created automatically on our on-prem AD. So still it is working on synchronization service. Let it complete. Okay, so that is done, and here we have multiple options for the user sign in. So password has synchronization, pass through authentication, federation with ADFS, federation with ping pad rate, and do not configure. So let's have a look one by one. So here information is given. If you hover over your mouse, so you can see here what is this option. Allows your users to sign into the cloud using same password that they use on premises. So it means whatever credentials we are using on-prem, the same set of credentials can be used to use Azure AD services. And pass-through authentication enables Azure Active Directory to authenticate users using your on-premises identity infrastructure. So this actually pass-through authentication, this is one of the new feature. Let me go back and let me take you to Azure AD Connect. So user sign in. So these are the federations and seamless sign-on, pass-through authentication. This is disabled, and these are the same features what we are discussing on while we are configuring the Azure AD Connect. So we will discuss about this pass-through authentication in the later video, and this is pretty much important and a good feature. So let's go back to the server, and this is if you have if you want to federate it with your ADFS, then you can select this option, and this is federation with ping pad rate. So this option enables federated user sign in using ping pad rate. While logged into the corporate network, your users can access cloud resources without entering their password. So there is no password required for this. And do not configure. Let's read it out. This option allows your users to be federated sign in using a solution not managed by this wizard. While logged into corporate network, your users can access cloud resources without entering their password. So we will discuss each one of them in the later videos, and in this video we will focus on password hash synchronization. So we can use our same credentials what we use on-prem. So let's click on to next, and it is asking for the global administrator account. Let me enter my username and password. Admin at NA at .info, and my credentials. So it will try to connect to Azure. So credentials are validated. It is examining what are the domains I added. So you can see here, and a jaha.info, this was the verified domain here, and this is already picked. Let's go back to this. So we can see here in the drop down there is no other than this forest. So let's add directory, and here this is one of the account which will create on-prem Active Directory to sync the users. So we have two options available: create a new AD account or use existing AD account. So I did not create any account, so I'll create new AD account here. Okay, so to create that, make sure you have the domain admin or enterprise admin access, so that that will have the privilege, as you can see here, enterprise admin credentials. So that has the privilege to create the account on-prem AD. So let me enter NA Shahar. This is my domain, and AAD SYNC. I'm going to create this account one. Sorry, I have to enter my credentials, enterprise admin credentials. So I have admin, then I'll enter my credentials. So this account admin is there on-prem AD. Let me open MSC. Admin member. So this has already enterprise admin rights, so this is good. And guys, make sure this is not the same account which is there on-prem. Okay, so as I shown you previously, on-prem the same account I created, and for this one, since this is not syncing from on-premises, so this user have different credentials. Okay, and for this account the credentials are different. I'm using my on-prem credentials here. So let's click on this. This is examining. Okay, so configure directories configured. Click on next. It is trying to retrieve the information from my on-prem. Excuse me. So this is UPN, and the Azure AD domain, and here I have one option to select the on-premises attribute to use as the Azure AD username. So I can pick for anyone. Okay, so this is somewhere the user will sign in to the applications. Okay, so make sure you are selecting the proper attributes from here. So I am leaving it as its user principal name or UPN, and click on next. and here domain and OU filtering. So what and all you want to sync to Azure AD from your on-prem environment. So since this is for demonstration, so I would like to sync each and everything whatever is there on-prem. But if you have a very big infra and you have multiple OUs and you have multiple child domains, so you have to select what to be synced to Azure AD. So I'll go with this one. Click on next, identify users. So we will discuss about this later. And this is some of the properties which are linked or managed for Exchange. So that's the reason I am leaving it as is, and we will discuss in detail later. So the source anchor, we will discuss about this also. What is the source anchor? So let's click on next. Synchronize all users and devices. Yes, okay, and synchronize selected excuse me. So synchronize selected means so we have to give any group, so that will be use this option to pilot Azure Active Directory connect for a small group of users. If you specify an Active Directory group, we will synchronize only the members of that group to Azure Active Directory. Otherwise, we will synchronize all users in specified forest. So we need to understand here, like sometimes what happens if we are creating the a dynamic group or the security group, and that group only be synced to Azure AD. So if we have a small infra or the VIP users, okay, they want to use Azure Active Directory resources and application, then we can just create a group and sync that group to Azure AD. So you have to give the CN or DN of that group. Okay, so you can, whoever is the member of that group, those users will be synced to Azure AD portal. So I'm going to sync all users and devices. Let's click on next. So I opted for password as synchronization, and this is because the user will use only the on-prem credentials for Azure Active Directory applications or other resources. So we will discuss about these optional features as well. Okay, what is group write back and device write back, okay, Azure AD. So we will discuss in detail about each and every feature, but for now password has authentication. One second. Okay, we will go with this. Let's click on next, and this is ready to configure. So once this is done, the synchronization, yes, it is asking for synchronization, and you don't want to enable staging mode, but if we have a plan to install one more Azure AD Connect server, then we can keep any server as primary and additional server that will be called as staging server. So I don't have any additional server, and I leave this option as is, and now install it. So this is going to create multiple accounts as I told you, and configure the services. So if I go to built-in, Yes. Okay, so this one is created, this group is created, this group is created by default, the desync password, this is created by default, and this account is created by default. So account created by Microsoft Azure Active Directory Connect with installation identifier. So you can see the description. Right, let's check. Yes, the configuration is still going on. We will discuss about the synchronization rule, enabling these features, saving the settings. Health agent is also being installed, so one services is being added here. Not yet added. Health agent we can see on Azure AD also once this is done. Connect sync errors, so we can see sync errors and all. So this is going to come by phone. We can check the health. So this configuration part might take some more time, so let me pause the video. So the configuration part is complete, and now we can exit it. So here there are a couple of services which are installed. Service, synchronization service, so let's check what and all is installed with this Azure AD Connect. Synchronization rules and editor. To start, synchronization service and synchronization BAF service. So let me open it. There is no rule configured yet, and if we look at the service is not yet started. Your account is not member of a required security group. So let me check this. What is this about? Okay, so I was getting this error, and when I checked there was no issue, and this error says like the service is not started or the account was not member of the required security group. But none of them is a valid example. I'm not sure why I was getting this error, but to check with, I just restarted the VM, okay, this VM, and post that I checked the synchronized service, and here we go. And this was started as expected. So we can see the synchronization is already started. Success. So first full synchronization will happen, and we can see the connectors, and if we are getting any errors or something, then we can see there synchronization errors. Okay, so it is connecting to DC1. This is my same server using port 389, and here are the connectors, two connectors. And this is Microsoft one, and this is the other one. This is my domain and HR.info, and what and all is in the design, device, group, person, and public folder. So I'm syncing device and person. So since the synchronization is taking place, and let me take you to some of the important things here. So if we click on our domain and go to the properties, and here we have the information about this connector. Okay, so Active Directory domain services we are connecting, and this is the domain name, when it was created, when was last modified, then what is the forest name. So this is our forest, and this account was created automatically, which I showing you. And if you want to reconnect or changing the password for this account, so we have to enter the password here, and this is the domain. This is the LDF traffic. Let's move on to the configuration directory portion. So this is what is being synced, the complete directory or the domain is being synced here. Okay, so we can change the setting here also, what we want to sync. Next is the hierarchy and object type. Okay, so we select it, we will select the devices also, and the attributes. So these are the default attributes, and if you have custom attributes created on-prem, they will be listed here, and just simply click on those attributes, and they will also, those values also will be synced to Azure AD. Okay, so synchronization already happening, and let me just open once before we conclude anything. Okay, so you can see here the synchronization service scheduler is suspended until this wizard and this setup wizard is closed. So synchronization, we can see we have the command. So in next video we will see try to create some rules, custom rules, and many more to come. So do subscribe my channel for the latest videos. Keep watching, keep supporting, and thank you so much.